Don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, and turn on notifications so that you will receive alerts when there are new episodes. Go get it.
That's what I tell them. I've been grinding for so long, I wake up and chase my goals. I go out and I go get it. Hot or cold, that's all I know. I don't succeed, then I don't breathe. Success, what does it mean? If I conquer all my goals, then I'm living out my dream. Dig deep, go out and get it. Success Chronicles. Compete until it's finished. Success Chronicles. Go take care of your business. Success Chronicles. It's deeper than just winning. Success.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Chip Baker, coming to you with another topic session for the Success Chronicles. And today, again, you get two Chips, Chip Baker and Chip Helm. And Chip is involved in lots. Man, great guy. So, of course, had to get him back on and talk a topic. But we're going to talk personal branding today. And first, let me just start off by saying thank you again for making the time to do the topic session.
Oh, I love it. Couldn't wait to get back on with you, especially you.
That's it. Well, let's talk about personal branding. I know, we kind of talked off air, like breaking it down a little bit. And what is personal branding to you?
Well, I'm going to turn it back on you immediately before I answer that question. What do you think personal branding is? When you hear that word personal branding, what does that mean to you? It doesn't have to be a long story, but just a few sentences.
Yeah, just to me, I think your personal brand is who you are and what you represent. What do people see you as? I think you want to make sure that you're on point with your personal brand because the way you portray yourself and way you put yourself out there, it means a lot and can give you opportunities, or can take opportunities away from you.
Yeah, you're exactly right. I mean, a lot of people, when they think about branding, first thing that comes to their mind is a company brand. And we can talk about that later as part of personal branding because a company brand is important. That's not what this is all about. This is about personal branding. And really, if I had to think of one sentence that made sense about personal branding, it is what other people think of you. Other people think of you, whether that's a boss, a close friend, a mentor, a parent, but it really is what someone else perceives you to be. That really is the core of what personal branding is as far as a definition.
Okay. So what other people think of you? Well, how do you develop that personal brand?
Well, first of all, you gotta understand it. I mean, it is what other people think of you. It's important to you. And that's the next step. Is it important to develop a personal brand? Before you even start developing it, do you understand that it does matter what someone else thinks of you? You know, in the big picture of this world, Chip, I wish it wasn't like that. We should be able not to care what other people think, okay?
Right.
You should be able to stand on your own 2 feet. You should be able to just, be honest and do right and not worry about that. But that's the problem. If you work in the corporate world today, as an example, the corporate world, you have to worry about what someone else thinks, first of all. Why is that? Why do you think that is? Why would I say back to you, Chip, it's really important that it is important that someone else, what they think about you? Well, I mean, what would you say to that? Why?
I think I agree, but then I also disagree. I think yes, it's important that to do things the right way and treat people right and make sure that you're living a life of striving to be the best version of yourself. And I think when you do those things, I think people organically and naturally get the genuineness and great things are said about you because you are a great person and you are achieving great things. And like, to me, I don't like to get caught up in what everybody else thinks because it really don't matter what everybody else thinks. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah, I know. I know what you're saying.
At the end of the day,
saying,
right?
But
Right.
there's a big but there.
Right.
And the but is if you want to get a raise,
Exactly.
you want to get a promotion, If you want to go places within your quote unquote company,
Mm-hmm.
you have to worry about the other person. I didn't do that.
Yeah.
Think about my personal brand for the first 5, 6, 7 years of working with, my company. And I'm trying to teach people right now that it's really important to visualize it, to understand it. Doesn't mean that it's the right thing all the time, but perception is reality. It really,
Yeah.
corporate world, it does matter. Unfortunately, it does matter what that other person or persons think of you,
Mm-hmm.
especially if you want to rise in the
Yeah.
corporate world, or if you want to raise, if you want money. It just is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you think that has to do more with first self-awareness, but then also awareness of others? I think like I'm a big organic and genuine kind of person. You know what I'm saying? Like I think when you are like I said before, striving to do things the right way and striving to treat people right and um, you know, like to me, not kissing butt, but just a genuine, hey, I care. You know what I'm saying? Like a genuine, when I think when you do those things, I think you genuinely and organically get the benefits from it because it's a genuine concern, it's a genuine love, it's a genuine passion for, hey, I got you, we're a team, we're in this together. We're not gonna fail because we're in the boat together, those kind of things. I think when it comes across that way, I think it's awesome.
Well, I wish that was always the case.
Oh yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Perception is reality. I
Mhm.
wish the honesty till the day is long, as which I am. I wish the genuineness. I wish the sincerity. I,
Yeah.
treating people like you want to be treated comes across. But you said the key word. You've got to put that in a bucket and perspective, and
Right.
you maintain that. But you've got to be self-aware
Yeah.
and have self-awareness, and that is the beginning of developing your brand. Is you got to start to understand your environment, who's around.
Mm.
Watch what you say. Sometimes watch what you do. It's not saying that it's wrong what you did or didn't say or didn't do. That's not the point. The point is if they think that what you said was wrong, it's
Yeah.
wrong. And unfortunately, that's just the way the real world works. So yes, that self-awareness is part of the process of the beginning process of developing your brand. I didn't have that. I still work on that, Chip. I still
Yeah.
work on my self-awareness and the awareness, because I'm just what you see is what you get.
Hmm.
And I care, but you've got to be careful around your surroundings.
Totally agree with that. Totally agree with that. So, how do you keep that personal brand? Now, once you develop it, like we talked about the self awareness and realizing those things. How do you maintain that?
Well, you've got to look at a couple things. Let's look at this pie. Let's
Okay.
back to corporate world again, okay? Because that's what most of us sit in some way or another. We all have bosses, right? For the most
Yeah.
part, right? So if you're working with a company, there's 3 phases I look at. One is the company recognition. One is the industry recognition. And one is a customer recognition, okay? But you've got to understand how you maintain and continually work with is what's important to you. If you ask me, I would tell you that the best recognition that you can ever receive is what the customers think of you.
Yeah.
It's number one. Number two, your colleagues in the industry, the colleagues that work with you, the colleagues that are in what you do and are experts in their field, they also just rank high. And in my opinion, the company recognition would be last. But in the real world, it actually is probably number one, because
Yeah.
you worry about what other people think of you within that company structure. Now, to step back a little bit before you continually maintain it and continue, you've got to develop it though. You got to sit down and you've got to look at your values. You got to put on a sheet of paper what your talents are, what your desires are, what your passions are. It's got to be almost like put a list together. You got
Hmm.
Okay. You also need, the first thing you need to do, I'll give you example, Evan, as he gets older, your son. One of the first things he needs to do is he needs to ask you, Dad, what am I like? What do you think?
Mm-hmm.
Go to a mentor. The best thing is go have lunch. Develop that first before you maintain it, like I was talking about. Develop it through mentoring, and talk to a friend, talk to a best friend who really will be honest with you and tell you what you may not want to hear.
Yeah.
See if you align with what they think. Because they did a study a while back. Most people, we love ourselves. We like to talk about ourselves. We think we're pretty good. We're pretty genuine. You know, we hope we're nice. We hope we treat people well. But you'd be amazed what other people think of you when you sit in a room and go, tell me about myself. What do you think from your lens? And
Mm-hmm.
it does not align up. And that's where you have to align up when you first, in your early stages of developing it, before you go to maintaining it, because you understand that you have a company maintenance of your recognition, you've got a customer, and also you've got the industry recognition. So those are kind of how you maintain it, but you got to develop it first.
That's it. I like it. So develop it first and then work to maintain it. Customer, industry, and company recognition.
Yeah, but remember something, you got to look at your talents,
Mm-hmm.
your desires. You also got to be honest with yourself what you're not good at. You need to talk to your mentors or your really good close friends and tell them, ask them, what do you think about me? You've got to go through this process. That's how you develop your own brand. You come up with your mission, your story. Do you have a story? I used to play football for Indiana. That's a story. You've got to develop your story as you develop your brand. Who are you? What do you like? What do you think you like? Those are kind of the steps that you need in developing it. You put it on a piece of paper. You start really, and you come up with a personal statement about yourself. Here's what I want to do. Here's what I want to go. Here's the kind of person I am. I just want to take care of people. I want to get back to the community, whatever. But you got to develop that personal statement first and have that mission, and then continue to develop it. I think it's so important to go through those baby steps.
Yes. Yeah.
Before you then, okay, then you're in your zone. Now, how do I maintain it? I didn't do a very good job of that. My self-awareness of the company side, I was tremendous.
Mm-hmm.
Customers in the industry side. But I didn't realize that people do want to screw you over.
Yeah. Without a doubt.
Not everyone likes you. I didn't realize that there's a lot of jealous people out there. I didn't realize that you've got to really go through those struggles of self-awareness and understand that you have to bite your lip sometimes and do things, there is that political side of life.
Mm-hmm. Well, what happens, because, we all come across some failures and some setbacks. How do we react? How should we react in person with personal branding when we fail? What do you feel about that?
First of all, you got to realize you're going to go up and down in your life.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be an up and down curve. You may have a brand for a while, then you fall. Then you develop your brand again and you fall. Then you go through a branding again and you fall. So let's just make sure that people understand it's very cyclical. It's very much up and down. Okay, that's the first thing. You're just not going to be on a brand and go, oh boy, this is great. It's going to happen to all of us. It's going to happen when you least expect it. You're going to be blindsided. Most people don't fall off a ladder. I fell off a very tall ladder, and I'm 6'3", and I hit the ground pretty hard. Most of the time, you don't know it's coming. It hits you like a brick wall, like you ran into a brick wall. You had no idea. You took what you said out of context, or someone thought you did this, or someone thought from their lens what you did was not right. So that's the first thing. It just floors you. You don't even know how to react. You're like, you're tongue-tied. You're like, oh my, I remember nights came home and I cried. And I'm going to tell you, everything I'm telling you about right now, I've done it. I've taken it. I'm through it. But so you visualize it and you accept it. And here's what I've said to people. And what's funny is some people say, why? Here's the deal. Even if you didn't do it, okay? Even if you weren't wrong, Even if you clearly could prove yourself of innocence, it doesn't matter, because if that other person who controls your life or controls the business side and controls you getting a promotion and controls where you go up next, if they think you did it, you did it. You have to accept it first and move on. I know that's hard. You just have to accept it. I didn't do it. I didn't mean to. They took me wrongly. I didn't do it. But you just have to say to yourself, I did it. I did it. I did it. Then you have to do what I call is you have to set up, these rules of engagement with your boss. That's the first thing. These rules of engagement, meaning you sit down and how do you want me to contact you? What do I need to do to make some changes? Show me and guide me and mentor me how I can get better. Even though you may be sitting there and going, I didn't do anything wrong. But you got to set up these rules of engagement with your boss. And then you've just got to continually work on improving yourself in their eyes. And you want mentors in your life and support in your family. And that's how you dust yourself off and get yourself off the ground and continue. So remember, you need mentors. You need to accept it.
Mm-hmm.
Did, regardless if you didn't do it, you accept it, you visualize it, you understand it, you say yes, you sit down and you start these rules of engagement step by step with your boss or whomever else it is.
Mm-hmm.
And you begin to have quarterly meetings and really work on trying to change that direction of that perception. Remember, it's what someone else thinks of you through this process. You may be the greatest guy in the world, the greatest person in the world. But if you want to get somewhere, you also have to understand how to get there.
Oh, there it is. Again, I want to tell you thanks so much for sharing your expertise and your knowledge on personal branding, what personal branding is, how to develop it.
Well, let me ask you a question before we get off, Chip, as I've always turned the table on you.
Okay.
Got to have a story yourself on when you got knocked down off that boat. And when you had to get back up. You couldn't have had that great smile your whole life. It could have just been given to you on a platter. You got to tell everyone out there a good branding story about yourself.
I don't know. I just think, when you first started to ask the question, I think there's been a lifetime of failures and different things that have happened in your life. And I think the more you go through those things, the more momentum you gain to react and respond the right way to them, And so, there's been a number of setbacks, but really to me, that's just excuses. And I don't deal with excuses. So, you just make it work. You live and learn. I think the big thing, just like you talked about, as far as basically looking within yourself, hey, how did I blew that? How did I mess that up? And you look at yourself and evaluate self-awareness. And then now you work like the Dickens to make yourself better. On the flip side of it is, hey, I learned I'm not going to do those other things again, but now I'm hungry for knowledge. Well, let me take it back. I'm hungry for knowledge with an O. I'm hungry for knowledge, so that I can be the best version of myself.
Well, Chip, the thing about it is you got to continue to use two things. You got to remember two things. You always got to use the right heart.
Yes.
Right intent. If you do things with the right heart and the right intent, it's like me talking about humility and it's not what you say to people, it's how you say things to people. But I'm just telling you, it's just that will get you through with, and the good Lord upstairs.
Yeah.
I'm just saying the right heart, the right intent, and you can't really be, too disappointed in yourself. I have no regrets. I've gone up and down, up and down, up and down. My life would have changed if I would have had a Chip Baker earlier in my life. I had someone who would have said, get your shit together. Watch what you're doing. Get off and just kind of, watch around you a little bit more.
Yeah.
I'm more concerned about that. But it's not that I don't think I did something wrong. It's just that is the way that it works. And telling you, I don't care what stage you are in your career. You could be halfway in your career, almost done with your career and changing. That self-awareness is still extremely important no matter where you are in your life.
Yeah, that piece.
I try to teach my
never
kids
stops.
right now. That's
Yeah.
why it never stops. That's why I'm trying to teach my older son is in medical school, and I have a daughter in vet school. And I said, you've got to just be aware, just be aware of things around you and what people are saying, and just, I'd much rather you, as I've always say, speak less, listen more, observe more with your eyes.
That's it.
Darn, I wish I would have done things differently, but it may not have mattered. I still where I am today, but I know more now. And if I can help one person, and somebody on here listens and hit them home,
Yeah,
I win.
I love it. The right heart and the right intentions. I think I wholeheartedly agree, and of course the big man. None of us are perfect.
The big man.
We all.
I'll steal that from you.
Yeah,
the big man.
The big man.
I agree.
We all make mistakes, and none of us are perfect. But if you're just like you said, if you're doing it with the right heart and the right intentions, the big man will always steer us to the right path. And along the way, we'll learn some lessons that we can share about personal branding, that we can help other people.
And you know what, Chip? I may not understand any of that until I get to the pearly gates.
Yeah.
These days, I like God to tell me why we went this direction, or I went this direction, or what the heck happened to me. But you know what? At least I can look God right in the eyes right now and say, you know what? I tried.
Yeah, effort counts.
And the right intent. Doesn't mean I did it right.
Yeah.
That maybe I should have done it differently.
Yeah.
Try to do it with the right heart, the right intent, and always do right by people.
Boom. Well, there it is. Again, thank you for your time. Thank you guys for checking out this personal branding session. And we started with the topic of personal branding, but really, I think this is, more life. It doesn't matter. You can take these principles and apply them to any avenue, anything that you're working through in your life, and it'll help you be successful. So truly thankful for those nuggets. Truly.
Let me make a comment too that people can actually go to www.chiphelm.com. To click on the online tab, and you can listen to my audio version of personal branding, that chapter at no charge. You can listen. It takes about 6-7 minutes. So if you want to go to my website and listen to the personal branding chapter, you're more welcome to.
All right. Well, thank you guys for checking out this topic episode. We'll see you next time. God bless.
God bless.
Go get it.